Tim, how you doing? Please.
Hey. Hey guys, what's up, man?
All right, so we talked about the open internet, which is sort of walled garden, open internet, and now more of a hedge garden. So we're going to cover our full bases here. Tim, you joined Instacart just about a year ago, right? A little over a year ago. Look, Instacart's a pretty fascinating business in general. I think people know it as the grocery delivery business. You guys blew up during COVID as it became a required necessity for everyone staying at home. Right. You guys launched an advertising business. It's now a major component of the platform. You went public in an era when no one was going public. But I still think
it's been a busy year.
Yeah. And I think, I'm not sure people really know what Instacart is today in all those changes the last number of years. So maybe can you tell us what is Instacart today and we'll take it from there?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think that's a great question. I think a lot of people confuse us. Are we a retailer? Are we, what are we exactly? So I think the way to think about Instacart is we are a grocery technology company, right? Actually, the #1 grocery technology company in North America. And what we've done is say, look, if you look at the opportunity that sits, so the grocery category, I think it's the biggest retail category in the U.S. It's about $1 trillion market, $1.1 trillion market. It's also the least penetrated from an e-commerce standpoint, about 10 to 12%, right? So all the analysts think it's going to triple over the next 3 to 5 years. So there's a massive opportunity, this wave of e-commerce happening in the grocery business.
Yep.
So what Instacart has created, again, we've approached this whole market not as a single retailer standing up an ads business or doing something, but as a technology company. We built a marketplace now of 1,500 retailers, 85,000 locations. We can now deliver groceries to 95% of the U.S. market. 5,500 brands participate and advertise with us and counting. We've got 30 billion rough GTV last year. And if you look at our vision is to power every grocery transaction in this country across all forms, whether that's online, in-store, and even across the supply chain. And our mission really is to try to, if we do our jobs well, we're adding incremental sales and value to our retail partners across the entire marketplace, and we're driving incremental sales and share for our brand partners across the marketplace as well.
Got it. So, yeah, it's a very interesting sort of place where you guys sit in the ecosystem, right? So, obviously I spend a lot of time thinking about commerce media, and usually you've got, it's a retailer, and so they've got their retailers. They might have to deal with the merchant team internally, and then they've got, the brands that they're dealing with. You guys have a consumer app that is driving consumers to the platform, which then opens up retailers as one of your main constituents, and you've got the brands on the advertising side of things. How are you managing that trifecta of different requirements of what people care about and what they ultimately need from the platform?
Yeah, and it's actually a four-sided marketplace, right? Because you've got the retailers, you've got the consumers, you've got the brands, and then you've got the shoppers, the people that actually go and get the 600,000 shoppers that are in the field that deliver the groceries, right? So and all of those fit together and work together and use technology and data to improve the consumer experience and drive value for retailers and drive value for brands. So for consumers, the experience, and it's an opportunity that you get to play in all four of those, right? Yep. For consumers, we've got to do our job as far as providing the best selection. They want choice. They want to shop where they want to shop, whatever retail they want to shop, make sure it's available. It absolutely has to be affordable. That's a big push for us in the upcoming year. The quality experience, it has to try to mimic the in-store experience to the digital shelf. That's not as easy as it sounds.
Yep.
All right. And then convenience. They want it when they want it. They want it now, they want it in an hour. Some people want it next day, but however they want to do it, whether it's delivery or pickup, making sure that we do it with the consumer. For the retailers, we've got to keep evolving and providing technology and tools that allow them to participate in the e-commerce world and in this omni-channel world, right? So especially down the long, mid, and long tail. If you're a big retailer, you're obviously standing up your own technology, et cetera, but we work with all retailers of all sizes to help them participate. And then from brands, look, brands are trying, or from consumer standpoint, consumers are trying to connect and find the brands they love. They're trying to discover new brands, and this platform becomes a huge part of discovery, right? So on the ad side, then, I think we look at it in a couple different ways, right? For brands, and whether we're developing new tools to provide on-platform and drive performance, whether through search, through shoppable video, shoppable display, and there's new formats constantly coming. How do we use our data then to let them plan and use our buying signals off platform? You've heard folks talk about it today. And then how do we develop and bring the online experience to the in-store experience? And that'll see a big push for us. So for brands, how do they participate across those ecosystems with that?
Well, as I talked to, there's a fragmentation issue, right? And you guys, help sort of manage that for brands. How does that work with retailers? Increasingly, big retailers, you guys still have shoppers and consumers need to have access to big retailers because obviously that's the preponderance of where they spend their dollars or do their grocery shopping. How do you guys manage that relationship as increasingly they're owning their own technology or, pre-retail media, there was no, it was like, oh great, extra shoppers, more GMV for them, right? Now you guys are both looking to sell inventory, a lot of it digitally. How does that, relationship work?
Look, we have a great relationship with the retailers. Again, 1,500 retailers across the marketplace, right? And we've got to work hard to make sure that we're proving and showing incrementality to them and driving incremental sales. So we've done a lot of research, a lot of studies. We're focusing, like recently we did a partnership with Circana to show like buyers on Instacart platform, are we driving incremental sales into brick and mortar? A rough justice, about 75% of the folks that are buying on Instacart and ringing the retailers' registers through our platform were incremental, about 75%. And then of the folks that were omnichannel, which is really the holy grail, the basket sizes are bigger. The omnichannel consumer is a more important consumer, so they're about 10 to 12%. So I think providing technology to retailers of all sizes to help them participate in this, and of course, look on the ad side, we talk, and that's probably a little more competitive on the ad side, but on the business side, if we're doing our jobs, we're driving their businesses, driving GTV, and this national e-commerce, high intent, high lifetime value e-commerce customer part of the growth in this industry. If we're delivering that to our retailers, then they'll continue to be on our marketplace and continue to be partners.
Well, and it's a notion that we've seen along this line of digital media over time, right? Which is it's very hard to create digital platforms that consumers want to use, continue to use, and go back to, and continue to innovate so that it's actually up to date with the most modern technology. And I think that's, you see TV has had that challenge. I think retailers have that aspect where if you're an individual retailer, it's very hard to always be up to date on what's the latest in ad tech, what's the latest in media, what's the latest in consumer technology. And so you guys, end up filling that void.
Right.
What's the let's talk about the advertising side of things a little bit deeper. You guys started 3 years ago, the advertising, 4 years ago?
Yeah, a little bit more than that. Yeah.
It's now about 30% of the business, so it's a major component of what's driving Instacart and fueling your growth. You talked about incrementality, you talked about reach. I mean, is there what's the most important thing as you're going to talk to brands? What are the reasons what allowed this to explode so fast? Is it just that it's money coming from other channels? Like, where are you guys really tapping into?
Look, at the end of the day, brands aren't going to come to us, are going to continue to come to us unless it works. Like, we're about performance. Every day we've got to prove out that we're growing incremental share, incremental sales, right? So the range of ad products that we're offering, from your basic search products and optimization, let them tap into category buyers, new to brand buyers, and optimize the algorithms, using AI and machine learning to really personalize the consumer experience and then personalize the advertising experience, making sure we're serving up the right ad at the right time. The only reason people come to us is it works, it performs, and we've got to earn that. We don't have any other levers to pull, right? So if we're doing that, and then we've got to continue to advance. Are we doing kind of mid-funnel? We have shoppable displays, shoppable video, the off-platform capabilities that we're building. We made a bunch of announcements this week and the last couple of weeks as well, so that we can then prove that out. We have the first-party data. We have to be able to show the measurement and closed-loop attribution. And look, for a guy that grew up in the media business and spent his whole life trying to prove that media worked in one way, shape, or form, I'm a little bit of a kid in a candy store right here. You can actually see it and prove it out and show attribution. So that part, as long as we keep doing that, I think we'll continue to grow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I mean, you left iHeart, where you had been for about a decade.
Long time. Yeah.
And what is the draw here? I think if you put music industry and grocery on on a spectrum here. They're pretty opposite in what's interesting.
My wife's like, you went to a little less sexy of an industry, She went from meeting John Legend to meeting the manager at ShopRite. That's the joke in my house. So she, look, it's the opportunity. One, I love the brand. Do you guys use, who uses Instacart? Has used Instacart? Okay, that's not enough hands. We'll have to see me after this to use it. So like, it's a great consumer product. Like, I think that starts there. When I was looking at places to possibly, the next phase for me was places that were great consumer brands and great products, and it resonated. I think it starts there. Two, there's also a very purpose-driven part of this place that resonated with me, allowing access people to the food they love and the time to then enjoy it with their families. But just the whole space, the whole e-commerce space, the whole retail media network space, everything we've been talking about with cookies and third-party data, the ability to have access to these type of first-party data signals, closed-loop attribution, be able to work with brands to put them right at the point of purchase, right near the basket or in the journey of shopping, that's incredibly exciting. To be able to then show that and help grow your partner's business and prove it out, all of that was super attractive. And I believe this is this next wave of digital, having been in digital for a while. And I didn't know it, wanted to learn it, so when given the opportunity, I jumped in.
It's just sorry for your wife.
Yeah, why not?
You talked before about measurement and standardization. We talked about it on stage. You guys certainly seem like you're in a prime position to be part of that. 5,500 retailers. What are you guys doing on that front of helping drive standardization, measurement that people can believe in, all the rest?
Yeah, so you guys talked about it before. There's like the wild, wild west a little bit right now. When the retail, there's how many retail media networks? There's no standardization, there's fragmentation. It's really hard for agencies and brands to buy across it. So we've seen this movie before. There will be consolidation eventually. It will, and I think I think we're well positioned because we're a marketplace. We're not a single retailer view. Again, we're 1,500 retailers, but you have to put things in place to make brands feel comfortable coming with you. So we recently got MRC accreditation. Not easy for those of you who have done that. We're one of the few retail networks that actually have it right now. We're working with third-party providers like IAS and Double Verify to make sure any invalid traffic and making sure that what we're bringing to brands they feel safe about and we're delivering what they say. So that's table stakes, I think, in this. And then you're going to continue to say we're part of the consortiums for standardization in this industry, working with the IAB to try and figure out ways together because we got to make it easier for brands and for agencies to buy us across.
And is that because you guys have both O&O inventory where people are coming to consumers, and yes, it's across retailers, but it's Instacart inventory, and then you're also the back end helping other retailers, manage their retail media networks. Does that go across all aspects?
Yeah. So there's a part of the platform that we will power some of their owned and operated sites through our Carrot Ads platform. The bulk of it is on our marketplace.
Got it. Okay. So we talked about partnerships before. You guys have announced a bunch of stuff recently. I think in your prior roles, you're at iHeart, you've been at Google and others that have been, I don't know that you'd say iHeart's closed off, but it's got a big ecosystem in and of itself. It's not, the basis wasn't about how to leverage this data in other platforms. Now that's a huge part of what you guys are thinking about. How is that, difference for you? What's the opportunity you guys see there? Can you talk a little bit about what's your approach to these partnerships? Where are you looking to do it?
Yeah, look, again, back to this kid in the candy store thing. We're sitting on this massive amount of first-party data and buying signals, again, across the entire marketplace. You get a full view of what's going on, right? So how do you in the right way, allow partners to participate, use those signals to inform their digital buying across? And it's not a new concept, but I think something unique we bring is our data, who we are. Again, it's a 100% e-commerce buyer, very high intent, very high lifetime value, high buying signals. And using that to then, so we've struck partners this week we did with NBCU, you might have seen it, to inform their streaming. That'll eventually go to linear. We've got, data partners with Google Shopping. We got the Trade Desk, who was just here, as well as Roku. Using that data, creating audiences, playing your CTV, pass back exposure data, and then actually see what works and see if we move product across a range of retailers. All of that is up and running, being able to do that, and it works. And I think that's what brands, I forget who was talking about it, but it's about proof, right? Is my marketing working? Is my performance marketing working? Is my upper funnel marketing working? How does it work together? And how can you prove out to your CFO and C-suite that what you're doing is actually working? And we sit in a place that gives a broad view for CPGs across the marketplace to prove out that this stuff is actually working.
And I guess so that all makes a lot of sense. The other area that you talked about earlier was, God, I lost my train of thought there for a second. It recovered. Is in-store and connecting to the in-store. Obviously, I think most of the way people think about you guys is a pure digital platform, but you guys have started to make waves into in-store around carts. Can you talk about your initiatives there and why is that so important?
Yeah, look, if you believe the analysts, right? So even if this triples, right, in the grocery business, 70% of this will still be in store, right? So, and if you take a technology point of view to this whole thing versus a retailer view, how do you participate across all parts of the ecosystem? So our answer to that, we have a full suite of products for retailers called the Connected Store, but we've also introduced something called Caper Carts. I don't know, has anyone seen the Caper Carts? These are actually smart shopping carts. So form factor that the consumer loves for years and decades or whatever. iPad, checkout kind of thing. It's a full weights and measures machine, scanners inside and outside. There'll be thousands of these in the field by the end of 24. If you're in New York, you can go to Fairway, Kips Bay, ShopRite in Jersey. I'll give you a list of where they go. But what this does is it brings an entirely personalized shopping experience to the in-store experience, which was traditionally a blunt instrument of a cooler screen, a radio ad, et cetera. You can take your online profile from Instacart, your loyalty card from Kroger, bring it on the cart, right? And as you're sticking the products in the cart, it recognizes it, totals. You can gamify it. You can pop up coupons based on where you are in the aisle. You can say, hey, you have these two items in your cart. If you get these two more, you can make this pad thai recipe tonight. It opens up a whole new thing, and it brings a personalization to the in-store experience. And for me, this creates an ad platform that simply does not exist right now in store. Retailers love it because it adds a technology element, a checkout element, ease the consumer. There's a model that works for both of us on it. So I think that's super important. And we fast forward a year or two from now, you're gonna have a massive ad platform, across retails in store. The brands can participate in a very personalized way.
And I guess it's an ad that can follow you around the store without it being too like Minority Report of reading my eyes and knowing who I am on every.
Well, look, it's cool because it knows where you are, it knows what aisle you're in. Hey, go down. If you go over to this aisle, get $2 off this coupon, or you pass by the Oreos and a coupon comes up. Like those type of things that are available. Again, making it a more personal. Everything we love about the online shopping experience, can we bring that to the real world experience? Because we know that's still going to be a majority of it. Yep. I think that's where I get excited about.
So to wrap up here, look, this is an ecosystem in general, the media ecosystem that loves the shiny new objects, loves hype, right? I think commerce media has been on at the top of that for the last few years, or been going up, and I'd say pretty much at the top of it now. Yeah. If you look out 2-3 years from now, I mean, what do you think is where commerce media is going? Is the hype real? Are we in it? Does it phase out?
I think it's real. I think we're really early innings. I think a couple things. One, I totally believe in the whole hedge garden and that it's a channel and a layer, right? And we're building and releasing things, I think, for other folks to participate in the whole commerce that haven't been able to participate. So I don't know if you guys saw, we released something called the Instacart Developer Platform, IDP. It's basically an open API that allows publishers of recipe and food content to connect to Instacart to make it shoppable. So we announced with Weight Watchers, with New York Times Cooking. You can now go on New York Times Cooking or Weight Watchers, read the recipe, click a button, you go to Instacart, it puts all those ingredients in your cart, you press a button, it shows up in your house in an hour. So think of all the publishers of food content. Again, it's a technology company's answer to this whole thing, right? So I think that making content shoppable in e-commerce, it's a layer, right? It's across hedge gardens. The other thing that's gonna happen too, and it's just starting, is making the television screen more shoppable than what it is in that behavior. Like we never thought we'd buy all this stuff off our phones. Yep. In 2-3 years, that behavior, whether it's through some interface that happens on the screens or QR codes and what's going on, finding places that don't have conflict with what retailer you're sending it to and are marketplaces and agnostic, I think those platforms will help enable that commerce between those platforms. Again, a layer across different parts.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Tim Castelli.
Thanks, Mark.